Fox News alert, Iran has less than 24 hours to surrender before all hell breaks loose.
The entire country could be taken out in one night, might be tomorrow night.
The president told the mullahs this weekend, Tuesday will be Power Plant Day and Bridge Day, all wrapped up into one in Iran. There will be nothing like it. Open the effing straight, you crazy bastards, or you'll be living in hell. Just watch. Praise be to Allah. The Secretary of War says this isn't a game.
Largest volume of strikes since day one of this operation. Tomorrow, even more than today. And then Iran has a choice. Choose wisely, because this president does not play around. You can ask Soleimani, you can ask Maduro, ask Khamenei.
The Iranians shouldn't be testing their luck, especially after this weekend, when the U.S. military conducted what the commander-in-chief calls one of the largest, most complex, most harrowing rescue missions in its history. Missing airmen deep inside enemy lines and a race against the clock. It all started early Friday morning when an F-15 fighter jet with the call signal Dude 44 was downed by enemy fire. In a life-saving maneuver, the two on board ejected their seats, but when their parachutes landed, they were separated by miles. So in the middle of the night, the president authored a hands-on-deck, high-stakes rescue mission.
Rescue task force crossed the beach, entered into Iranian airspace, protected by a fighter strike package, and moved into the objective area, all under fire. The Sandy flight of A-10s and other remotely piloted aircraft, drones, and other tactical aircraft were violently suppressing and engaging the enemy in a close-in gunfight. A Sandy has one mission: get to the survivor, bring the rescue force forward, and put themselves between that survivor on the ground and the enemy.
Within hours, the pilot was found, but the crew member in the backseat, the weapons operator, still missing. For 36 hours, he was all alone, deep in enemy territory, climbing for his life.
Despite the peril, the officer followed his training and climbed into the treacherous mountain terrain and started climbing toward a higher altitude, something they were trained to do in order to evade capture. He scaled cliff faces, bleeding rather profusely, treated his own wounds, and contacted American forces to transmit his location.
Dude 44 Bravo climbed a 7,000-foot mountain, wedging himself into a rock crevice, bleeding, only armed with a pistol. It's the perfect hideout, but it was only a matter of time until the Iranians got word and went looking. Somehow, it leaked.
They basically said that we have one and there's somebody missing. Well, they didn't know there was somebody missing until this leaker gave the information. So whoever it was, we think we'll be able to find it out, because we're going to go to the media company that released it, and we're going to say, national security, give it up or go to jail.
Word got out, and within minutes, Iran put a bounty on his head, and their militia made it into a manhunt. An American airman, that's one heck of a trophy. So 14 hours after the crash, our guy sent a signal.
He sent a message: God is good. In that moment of isolation and danger, his faith and fighting spirit shone through. You see, shot down on a Friday, Good Friday, hidden in a cave, a crevice, all of Saturday, and rescued on Sunday. Flown out of Iran as the sun was rising on Easter Sunday. A pilot reborn, all home and accounted for, a nation rejoicing. God is good.
The CIA sprung into action, using classified technology to locate the airman and confirm his identity. They thought it could have been an Iranian trap, so they had to make sure. And while they found this needle in a haystack, the agency toyed with the enemy's head.
At the president's direction, we deployed both human assets and exquisite technologies that no other intelligence service in the world possesses to a daunting challenge comparable to hunting for a single grain of sand in the middle of a desert. CIA executed a deception campaign to confuse the Iranians, who were desperately hunting for our airmen. Our intelligence reflects that the Iranians were embarrassed and ultimately humiliated by the success of this audacious rescue mission.
As the aviator hid, the CIA was spreading fake news inside of the country that he was found and we were moving him out by land. So confused, the regime shifted their focus to the roads as we sent in a massive air armada of over 150 aircraft over their heads. 4 B-1 Bone bombers, 64 fighters, and special forces penetrated deep inside of Iranian airspace.
How many men did you send altogether, approximately, for the operation?
I'd love to keep that a secret.
Okay, well, but I will tell you, the number, I'll keep it a secret, but it was hundreds and hundreds of these people.
Teams of American commandos scattered into 7 different locations, 6 of them as decoys, confusing the enemy about the true site of the pickup point. Meanwhile, the Air Force was dropping about 100 2,000-pound bombs around the perimeter of the mountain to keep the Iranian trackers at bay. During the op, one of our B-2s hit the Guard's underground headquarters with a bunker buster. It's the same bunker buster we used in Midnight Hammer. A source told Fox we delivered the heat. Meanwhile, scores of Iranian bounty hunters heading towards the hideout were getting wiped out by our Reaper drones. Central Command had set up a forward operating base deep inside of Iran for missions just like this. And American MC-130s were landing on makeshift airstrips, unloading SEALs. The problem is the terrain was awful, but we had a backup plan.
It was sandy, wet sand, so we thought there may be a problem taking off because of the weight of the plane, and then we also had all the men jumping back onto the planes, and they got pretty well bogged down, and we had a contingency plan, which was unbelievable, where lighter, faster aircraft came in, and they took them out. We blew up the old planes. We blew them up to smithereens because we had equipment on the planes that, frankly, we'd like to take, but I don't think it was worthwhile spending another 4 hours there taking it off.
Unlike Afghanistan, Trump didn't leave any high-tech hardware in enemy hands, leaving behind one last explosion and Iran in a plume of smoke 200 miles from the border. A rescued airman, U.S. commandos, and billions in equipment flew back to friendly territory without any casualties. Just a bunch of Iranian bullet holes in the choppers. The president calls the rescue operation an Easter miracle, and even Obama officials tipped their hats.
This operation, for the first pilot and the second pilot, was a remarkable exercise, demonstration of U.S. military courage, technology, power. I would encourage the President and the Secretary of Defense, consistent with operational security, share as much of that with the American public so that the American public can appreciate what goes into this. This kind of operation was more complicated than the bin Laden operation, for example.
Wow.
I'm not sure any of that.
That's saying something.
This is proof of the American credo: no man left behind.
This was an incredibly dangerous mission, an incredibly dangerous undertaking, but a filled promise made to every American warfighter that you will not be left behind. We will always come find you, and we will always bring you home.
That trust the missing airman had in his country, that we would move heaven and earth to find him, is what made the mission possible. His will to survive and his training put him in the perfect position to be found and flown home. Iran was lucky to have hit an F-15, but America was just better.
You know, what hit this one was a handheld shoulder missile, heat-seeking missile. So it's not like, you know, they're totally whatever. And they had probably a little luck, because you got to get lucky. But they shot it, and it got sucked in right by the engine.
It took over a month for Iran to take down an American aircraft over their territory, and we rescued both pilots without a single casualty. We pulled off one of the greatest search and rescue missions in military history, right under their noses. This was their last chance of leverage before Tuesday's deadline. Would have been a big bargaining chip, and the kind of propaganda victory that would have changed the course of the war. Instead, because of American daring and excellence, we've cemented momentum going into Power Plant and Bridge Day. And this Easter miracle is the defining moment of the war. And while holding on to the strait for weeks, Iran's starting to lose its grip. Traffic through Hormuz is at its highest level since the start of the war. Iraqi oil tankers have started sailing through. That's 3 million barrels a day back into the market. And a French commercial vessel went out. The president says the mullahs have been full of it.
We've knocked out even their mine droppers. They don't have any mine droppers anymore, but they put them on other boats, and they could drop them. I'm not even sure they have any mines there, by the way. I'm not sure. Personally, they say there might be 8. I don't know. I think there might be none because they're very good bullshit artists. That's why for 47 years they've been bullshitting other presidents, and they haven't done the job.
The president says the mullahs just have to threaten to blow up the strait to hold it hostage. They don't even have to mine it. They just have to say they did. That's maybe why Trump's held off from sending in the Marines, because the military is not going to be able to ever stop Iran from bluffing. Meanwhile, the Iranians have lost allies. The Chinese are starting to buy American energy again, and North Korea is distancing itself from Tehran. Little Rocket Man wants to stay on Trump's good side.
You notice he said very nice things about me. He used to call Joe Biden a mentally retarded person, okay? So don't tell me about your stuff. Joe Biden, he said he's a mentally retarded person.
Time's not on Iran's side. In the last 24 hours, the Israelis hit the regime's largest petrochemical facility and smoked 2 more leaders, the head of Iranian intelligence and the head of the Guard's undercover unit. Negotiating with the remnants is getting hard.
They have no communication. In fact, the biggest problem we have in our negotiation is that they can't communicate. I said to Steve, what are they saying? Sir, they can't communicate. They have no method of communication. So we're communicating like they used to communicate 2,000 years ago with children, bringing a note back and forth.
At 8 o'clock Eastern tomorrow night, Iran will have to cut a deal to stop the fighting, open the strait, and get real about their uranium. Or else it's lights out.
We have a plan, because of the power of our military, where every bridge in Iran will be decimated by 12 o'clock tomorrow night, where every power plant in Iran will be out of business, burning, exploding, and never to be used again. I mean, complete demolition by 12 o'clock. And it'll happen over a period of 4 hours if we wanted to. We don't want that to happen.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube, and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.